The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of Old Drunken Discography are just that, opinions. Our views are based solely on how we feel about the content we are discussing and mean no harm to your precious little feelings. If you are offended by anything we say, maybe you should go outside, ride a bike, take a walk around the block, maybe even pet a puppy. We are just a group of old grumps who like music, alcohol, and arguing with each other. No one should take us seriously. Seriously.
Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where the show where 4, 3, sometimes 2 old people get around and rant and rave about music rankings, and talk about whatever else we want to. Little housekeeping. This is our first show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do all those things you're supposed to do: share, like, subscribe, whatever that is. Today we are not sponsored. If you'd like to sponsor us, go on to our Discord or Facebook and let us know. We'll have links below for all that. We're going to shout out a couple of breweries. Something Brewery. Jose Cuervo is not a brewery, but that's who Ed wanted us to
St.
talk
Arnold.
about.
St. Arnold.
St. Arnold, there you go. We appreciate them, and like I said, hopefully you want to throw some money our way sometime soon. So we're going to introduce ourselves, being the first episode. I'll let someone else take it away since I've already started talking a lot. Let's start with Jason.
I'm vinyl.
That's it? You're just vinyl?
That's it. I'm just vinyl.
That's all we do.
I'm the oldest,
Vegas.
so the wisest. I'm the wisest.
He's just trying to trick y'all already.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The Alzheimer's is already kicking in.
That's all right. Vegas, start us up. You're next.
Vegas from Vegas. I think I'm probably the second youngest. I think Joe beats me. So
Youngest and best looking. It's a shame. It's a hard burden to bear.
Then we need to increase the size of your camera there.
And Ed.
Hey everybody, my name is Eduardo. I love music. I love talking about music, so here we go.
So this being our first episode, we chose a very lesser known band to just get us cut off, Nirvana. They have 3 studio albums, but we're also including Incesticide because why the fuck not? We're going to chat. We're going to rank all the albums, first, second, third, fourth, and we're going to tell everyone else they're wrong. Unless you agree with me, then you're correct. So we'll talk about that. If we get a little further in our discussions or have a heated argument, we'll do a deep dive with another video later on.
It's coming.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Dork Joe. I am the youngest member of the old club, so I had to bring a little fresh hipness to here, and you'll love my opinions, I guarantee it. Or your money back. So we want to talk a little bit about how we got into Nirvana. Everyone knows Nirvana. We're all of an age where we grew up with Nirvana, but some people have a special relationship with them. I believe Vegas met him, probably partied with him a few times. He's old enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you if that's 100% true. I just made it up, but it could be. We'll find out. Ed, start us off. Tell us about your relationship with Nirvana.
Okay, so I remember being in high school and not really knowing much about that kind of genre of music at the time, even though it had already happened or started. So I had a couple of friends, and I got a little introduced by little, but then I met Jason. He's the one that showed me more of how the albums and more about Kurt and the band. He knew so much about them, and he always talked about the band. So, and then we started learning. He started teaching me how to play their music, and just like anybody else, just became really enthralled with the whole thing. And it was a big part of my youth. Like all the songs, all those albums. They even listening to them back now, like it was a big part of growing up for me. Even though in '94 in the '90s, I was little. I was in middle school, I think. So yeah, no, it was definitely a big part of my life, and I started playing music because of it. So yeah.
Excellent. Vegas, tell us a little bit about your relationship.
Oh, well, Nirvana didn't happen till high school. I was a late bloomer. before I was in hardcore rap, I used to listen to Snoop Doggy Dogg, Dr. Dre, all that fun stuff. And then my brother brought home the Tool Schism album. And it was the first time I ever heard something like that. And it kind of switched me over to like rock music. So that would have been around like 96. And then eventually found Nirvana. Once I found them, I did party with them while I was in high school. Kurt and I became great friends. He's still alive in the Bahamas as we speak. Believe the conspiracy theories. And yeah, I listened to In Utero, Bleach, and Nevermind. I really didn't get into Incesticide that much, but I'm definitely looking forward to talking about all 4 of those albums.
Awesome. Jason?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I grew up in a household that was into country music and classic Southern rock. So I didn't get to Nirvana until I was a little late in the game. Earlier than Vegas, I probably hit about the time MTV started playing Smells Like Teen Spirit. Kind of ushered me right along into it. MTV was a big kind of eye-opener as far as music goes and the different things with that. But Nirvana is one I fell in love with immediately. Went out, listened to everything I could, except I don't think I listened all the way to Bleach until much later in my life. So that's kind of where I started with Nirvana. Now we're going to
It was February 15th, 1992. It was probably around noon, 1 o'clock. That was the first time I heard Nirvana.
There was a chill to the air.
My best friend at the time, Michael Fowler, he had Nevermind on cassette. I was 12. We were riding to my sister's birthday party, and he said, "Oh my God, you got to hear this." And he put the headphones, from his Sony Walkman, and it was just some gravelly voice saying, "Nature is a whore." And that was like the coolest thing I'd ever heard in my life. So I've been a fan ever since.
Awesome. And so I think that's a very similar background for most of us as far as when we got into them. Obviously, none of us were in Seattle when they first formed and got started, but like most of America, people our age, that's probably where we fell into it. So we listened to all the albums at one point in time or another.
Once or twice.
This week I listened to them all back to back to back, which was very refreshing. That was fantastic. I haven't given those a spin like that in quite some time. So it was a lot of fun for me personally. I don't know about y'all, but to get the opportunity to listen to it, which is something I'm looking forward to this project.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things that's interesting about doing that, because I actually did that not too long ago, listened to all the albums back to back. You can kind of see Kurt's growth as a songwriter. Like you can actually see it happen. If you listen, it's amazing how he evolved. And all the rest of the band is great, but Kurt was the face, the creator, the one that managed all that. Even like Chris and everybody in the band tells you that too. But you can see his growth as a writer, and you can see his development as a singer, and it's from a musician point of view, it's amazing to actually, because you don't see that anymore. That doesn't happen anymore, And it's one of the greatest thrills, I think, and very good in education wise. If anybody's trying to learn to write, it's good to listen to those albums and learn how other musicians do it, so you can kind of wrap your mind around it and do it on your own,
Absolutely, that was a lot of fun, and something we'll talk about, I'm sure, as we go through our rankings. I know I want to speak on the growth and evolution of the music and the lyrics personally, but so unless anybody else wants to talk about something as far as their relationship with it or shoot the shit, we've got a little time.
I just want to say how we're going to do this is we don't really know each other's rankings.
No.
There's only 3 albums. We're counting Incesticide. It's just a collection of B-sides. But to me, I had it on cassette back in the day. It was an album to me at the time. So we're not. No, I'll just save it. I'll save it. We can get into the rankings.
So kind of how we're going to do with this. And for future shows, it may evolve, it may de-evolve. We'll see. But we're going to go through and kind of, I don't want to say like a snake, but we're going to let one person talk about theirs first, another person next, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. We're going to try not to interrupt each other too terribly much. But man, when y'all are wrong, you're going to be wrong. I have a funny feeling our 3 and 4 are going to be very similar, and our 1 and 2 are going to be similar in this scenario. But we'll find out together. So to start us off with the album they ranked number 4, who did I have picked here? It's me. All right. So
Bias.
Yeah, there's a bias there. All
I
right,
wrote
so
the intro. Goes first.
that's right, the guy who wrote the intro. I love to hear myself talk, so you'll learn that about me as we go along. So my number 4 album is Bleach. Now the problem with Nirvana is all these albums are amazing. Any given day, this is the best album you'll listen to. But when you have to put them all in order, I'm saying Bleach is number 4. Do we need my reasoning now? Did we decide we're going to do it that way?
Yeah, you better say something good.
Well, here's my reasoning of putting Bleach number 4. I love Bleach. I think it has a very strong opening. I think it has a very strong closing. I think that a lot of the songs in the middle are amazing. I don't think it flows very well. I think things like Paper Cuts just throws things off. I don't think there's any flow through in there. That is one of my low points. Paper Cuts is one of my low points of the album. Where's my other one? Great album. I think it's just Paper Cuts. It's really the reason that I'm putting it number 4. I just think the flow is weird. That's my way. Like I said, I think there's some badass things. About a Girl is obviously awesome. That and School going back to back that's just a killer back to back section for me. Negative, love it. Swap Meet, love it. Downer, love it. Mr. Mustache, amazing. School is one of my favorite Nirvana songs. It's great. But here's actually, I'm going to tell you why this is number 4. And it's not just Paper Cuts. It's Floyd the Barber.
Not this again.
Don't mess with Mayberry. That's all I'm saying. Don't mess with Mayberry.
man.
The merch is
Oh,
coming. The merch is coming. It says don't mess with Mayberry. That's my number 4. All right. So next up we have, I should have wrote this larger. Old Eyes. Vegas, tell me your number 4.
So, number 4, without question, looking at my notes, Incesticide. This is by far, I know it's kind of like the B-side albums, but this is by far out of the 4 the worst of the albums. It feels like little effort was put into it. It feels like, after they had hit success with Nevermind, this is when they bought all the expensive drugs and started using them, and just literally, it doesn't flow at all to me. You have Dive, which feels forced, no energy, and that's not a great way to start the album. Hairspray Queen just seems like, the vocals, that beginning shriek of a sound is just, it doesn't even make you want to continue through the song, honestly. It's just, it's all over the place. It almost feels like a joke album when you have songs like Mexican Seafood, Hairspray Queen. These guys were fucking around with everyone at this point. So by far, that is the worst album out of those 4, in my opinion.
Well, I can't wait if we ever do Sonic Youth. I can't wait to make Vegas listen to every Sonic Youth album.
I got something to tell you here shortly. We're gonna keep it moving for a second. Okay, Jace or Vinyl, tell me your 4th album. Album number 4.
I just want to say, there's out of these 53 tracks, they're all winners in my eyes. But I'm going with Bleach. I love Bleach. But I like other albums more.
It's a great album.
I think Floyd the Barber is an amazing song.
Oh boy.
I love the Andy Griffith references. Swap Meet, Mr. Mustache. If I pick up a guitar, I'm going to play Mr. Mustache. It's such a fun song to play. Yeah, That's my number 4.
All right, Ed, let us know. Come on, say
Okay.
never mind. Say never mind. Do it.
Oh my God! You will be disconnected if you say never mind.
All right, so it does kind of feel sacrilegious to put these albums in order because, like, seriously, one of them have been my favorite at one point in my life, you know. So, respectfully, I agree that Incesticide is number 4 on my list too. But the reasoning what I have is that I look at it from like the band's point of view. They released that album in a rush because the record label wanted them to release something after Nevermind. They did not ever mean for that to be an album, you know, as a band. And Kurt himself, he recorded those songs, but they rushed it and they were like, hey, they went to wherever they recorded Bleach, and they're like, do you guys have anything else here? And they put it together for them. So it's not really
It's not an
it's
album.
not really the songs, it's the material, the writing, it's the situation, and you can, and that's why I think when Vegas said all the songs just don't sound right, and because they weren't meant to be in an album. They were all meant to be B-sides and EPs and all of that. So yeah, that's why I put them at number 4.
Okay. I got something to say here in just a moment about that.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
So, Vegas, let's start. Let's have you start us off.
All right, for number 3, I definitely went with Bleach. Starter album, some highs and some lows. But let me talk about Floyd the Barber. There's nothing that I hate worse than songs like Floyd the Barber. These like story, funny, like, it's just, it doesn't fit them. And I get that it's their starter album. I just wasn't a fan of it. I find
so dark.
It doesn't suit him.
Okay.
You know, then you got things like Negative Creep, which sound like a Radiohead wannabe song. Then you have Sifting, which sounds like an Alice in Chains vibe song. I feel like Bleach was them trying to figure out what sound works best for them. And I know this is going to be very controversial considering, you know, it's Kurt. Almost like they were looking for some sort of commercial success to find out which songs grab the most attention. About a Girl clearly kind of caught wind on that album and started taking off, and that's where I think you see the progression of Nirvana go kind of in that genre. You definitely hear some of those more fast, almost like slower punk type songs like Mr. Mustache and things like that on later albums. But for the most part, yeah, it belongs at number 3. It blows the water out of Incesticide, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely not their best in my opinion.
Okay. Vinyl.
So the reason I went with Bleach's number 4 is because it doesn't have Dave Grohl. At least this one has a little bit of Dave Grohl.
True.
And it has Sliver. So Incesticide is my number 3. And every song that Vegas listed, I love. I like the weird, the craziness of Mexican seafood and the beeswax. Big Long Now. I think it's an amazing album. B-sides or not. Stain. Come on. D7. And not the Vaseline covers alone. Molly's Lips, Son of a Gun. Amazing. I think Incesticide has more. The recordings are better. Like the sound is better. They may not flow as well as Bleach, but they pop more than Bleach. Bleach kind of has that early sub pop.
Would you say that there's more
Grunge.
authenticity to the Incesticide album than, let's say, a more studio produced album like Bleach?
No, I mean, I just think they had better recording studios. They had better drummers. Aneurysms on that. Come on, Ed, back me up here.
Yeah, no, I do. Those are classics, man. And Nah, I do back you on that. It's the man D7 is such a great great tune, but like it's just like I said, like, it just wasn't meant to be an album. You know, that's all. I think those songs were all meant to be singles or other stuff. It wasn't meant to be put together. You know, Kurt put a lot of thought into it, man. Like he like analyzed songs in the order they need to be in, right? I mean, he cared about his music, and I don't know. That's why I don't.
Well, you can tell.
I don't like them particularly for that reason, but I like the songs.
Nevermind and In Utero have this exact same song structure.
Yes.
We'll get into that, but
Verse, chorus, verse. Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, track order. They both have the same track order. I had them on cassette, so I know, you know, when a slow song played, you swapped it over. Dumb.
Vinyl, you got anything? All right, Ed.
So
tell me about your number 3.
Oh, my go?
Yep.
Okay. So for me, I'm gonna have to say In Utero. All right. But
for your third,
the reason why I picked it. Yeah. I gotta listen.
Oh my god.
So if you look at In Utero, it says recorded by Albini. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Now, listen. What the band recorded with Albini, he mastered, gave it to the label. The label said, this is not it. So what the band wanted the record to sound like, it's not what people have heard. Unless you're a fan like
I've
us
heard
and
it.
you have
I've
the
heard
special
it.
edition with the Albini. Okay, we have that. The radio doesn't play. When you're listening on the main mixes and masters, that's what the record label wanted you to listen to, not what Kurt wanted you to listen to. And that is why that album actually pisses me off. Again, as a musician, I would feel disrespected if I go up to the producer or the mix engineer and be like, hey, yeah, the sound great, send it off. And then some dude with a tie in the building says, no, this doesn't sound right. And again, great songs. Freaking Rate Me, love that song. Tourette's is one of my favorite tunes to listen to when I'm pissed. It's great. I love it. But I cannot put that album over the other two that actually ended up being like the band wanted to be done. That's my opinion.
You know, you're going to have to hold that thought, Ed. I want you to hold what you just told me about In Utero till later, and we're going to discuss that same thing.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
How long have you been sponsored by Jose Cuervo, and how much have you had there?
I tried to write technical difficulties for you, but
Hey, man.
I can't apologize.
We need to.
Honestly, though, like it's not what the band wanted you to hear. That's not the mixes that
Neither-
you heard.
neither was
how the song
Nevermind.
sounds.
Neither was Nevermind.
Of course, it was. Kurt approved
Kurt
that.
he
that was-
hated that.
hated the mix.
He is on record saying multiple times
but
he hated the way that album came out.
Whenever Butch sent that album out, Kurt knew what it sounded like. It did not change after that.
They had no power. That was their first album. They had to listen
Well,
to the
he knew
studio.
what it was going to be like, and he knew it was polished. He knew. Even Chris in the interview said that was the record to let us in. Basically, that was the record to make sure that we blew up, and then we were going to do In Utero.
We need to rewind this video at the beginning when Ed said you can see Kurt as a songwriter get better each album. Remember that?
Yeah, no, you can't. The songs are great. I never said anything about the songs. I love that album.
You're wrong. You're past wrong. It's so bad that it's not even funny.
Joe, no, hold on one second, because you have to. The songs are great.
Yeah, songs are amazing.
All of them. But I cannot. You can't give credit to an album that the artist didn't
Same thing with
finish
Nevermind.
like the way he wanted it to.
Same with Nevermind. He hated the way that album sounded.
No.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Literally
But
just
he
read
knew
all
what it
this.
was going to sound like.
Anyway, my
knew what
number
it was gonna
3.
sound-
We got to move along a little. My number 3.
And they only did two. They only redid 2 songs, right? Penny Royalty and one other one.
No, they redid the whole album, all of it. Because Steve Albini came back and said, "I don't." He didn't want to take up the project again because he didn't want to remix the whole album. and mastered that. So it wasn't just 2 songs; it was the entire album. And if you listen to the mixes, they do sound very different. All Apologies, completely different song to me. When I listen to the mixes, it's totally different. Even Heart Shaped Box, it sounds different. Anyways, go ahead.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Vegas has his child, so he's going to be in and
out. Whew, all right.
Because we're old. We all have kids and jobs. And wives.
That's right. He's got a moment till he has to make his next one. So, okay. So my number 3, more realistically, is Incesticide, which is a fantastic album. Y'all's complaints about it not supposing to be an album, there's something that makes it's great. It's magical. It has better flow than Bleach does, in my opinion, as far as how they put the songs together and where they put them. Dive starts off with amazing bass opening, which I love. A good bass opening. I'm a sucker for it. You've got Sliver, you've got Been a Sun, you got Turnaround, Molly's Lips, Son of a Gun. I mean, you just got hit after hit after hit. Now, the New Wave Poly, I'm not a huge fan of.
I like New Wave.
I don't really like that version. It's fine. Yeah. There's a better version on the next album, so there's no, none of that. Mexican Seafood is kind of my low point of this.
I can see that.
It's not pleasing to hear. But turning right around, Hairspray Queen is amazing. And I know that his voice, that's a similarity in how his voice is being done, but the music with it just makes it better. I don't know. Aneurysm. The only thing I don't like about Aneurysm on this version is the beat it that they go through. There's like a little beat it. And I was like,
beat
I've heard a better version.
Yeah, that's Dave. Dave Grohl did
that's Dave.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. But so I think it's amazing. I think it's has better flow than Bleach does. That's why it's number 3.
All right, I can respect that. I can see why, if you're not a die-hard Nirvana fan, how Incesticide, especially the latter half, would kind of grate on you.
Mm-hmm. I really, it's just that song. Oh, what I did want to mention, Beeswax has one of my favorite lyrics. I got my titillate spade is just amazing to say. That's just an amazing thing to say. Anyway, okay. So, who's next? I wrote them down here. E. Who is J?
That would be Vinyl.
Vinyl.
Well, yeah, there's 2 of us, isn't there?
Well, there's 2. Yeah, there's 2 J's. There's 2 V's if I say Vinyl. So it is you. For
all right. I thought Ed and I were going to have to battle over something else, but
well,
that one blew me away. I'll admit that's the surprise of the video.
Yeah.
My number 2 is an album that is produced horribly by Butch Vig. I'm going to keep the, I don't want Spencer to sue us. He's real bad about suing people. But I'm going with Nevermind as my
horribly. Okay. What? Time out. Easy now. Horribly, really, horribly. That is a classic album. Fucking amazing music, blows your mind the first time you hear it. Horribly.
Oh, but we can put In Utero we can put Bleach over In Utero because the way it was recorded. Come on.
No, because you're not listening to how the artist wanted you to listen to it. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and I remember Kurt coming out and saying multiple times, he didn't like the way Nevermind sounded. It sounded too clean, too poppy. He's really excited about where they're recording their next album with Steve Albini. Now, Nevermind, not a bad song on it. I mean, my favorite Nirvana song, my favorite song of all time is on Nevermind, On a Plane. But it is not my number 1 album by them. We can get into that when I get to my number 1.
I apologize. I had to run off and grab something. All right, so Vinyl, we're through with number 2 there? That's what I'm assuming?
Yep.
All right, Ed. Give us something crazy.
I'm at Bleach for number 2. Bleach for number 2. Because he one of my favorite things about Bleach is that he did about a girl for that album, and the way music was going in the group where Kurt hung out, it was a ballsy move for him to put that song on that record. Like they weren't. I like the whole album. I like all the songs on it. Floyd the Barber is a great song. I don't know why y'all got beef with it. I think.
Hey, only one of us has beef with it. Only one of us.
I got beef with it.
Don't mess with Mayberry.
But it's and I just like again to see Kurt's beginning as a songwriter. At least some of the songs that he had written a while ago that he put on there. I think About a Girl was a move. I love the Beatles, and he after listening to the Beatles for a while wrote that song. It's a poppy tune on a seriously like grungy, metally, whatever you want to call it in that time, kind of album, heavy album, and I don't think anybody had done anything like that, at least in that genre, to put a soft song, a pop song, really, into it. And that's another thing too. I know Kurt said he didn't like how Nevermind ended up, but I don't see, man. I've been reading on him a lot for years. I don't know. The guy had mixed feelings about everything, and I get he said that, and I don't know if he was just saying that to like make sure his fan base, who are honestly underground young people, just make sure that they stuck. They're like, oh, they didn't mean to do that. Even though it blew up. So I don't know what he was going with that, but in that album you hear a pop trend, and he doesn't shy away from it. He keeps writing that way, into what became Nevermind. So I don't. Even In Utero has pop, trendy kind of music. I mean, Heart Shaped Box, right? The keys is in, like, and the way he sings them, like they have Rate Me and Dumb and all those songs. They are poppy kind of tunes. So he doesn't. Then you get into Tourette's and all that crazy shit that he liked too. But but he never shied away from it, man. And I don't know how seriously to take him when he said that he didn't really want Nevermind to end that way, in my opinion. But,
I mean, can you say the same for In Utero, though? We can't take him seriously because he didn't like In Utero?
No, again, my only beef with In Utero is like what you listen to the radio is not what he meant for you to listen to. That's my beef with it.
What? How do you know?
Because Albini recorded it, and then the company had to remix it and remastered it. So it's not the sound is not what Kurt and the band meant for you to be heard.
All right.
It doesn't fucking matter. In Utero's the better album. It has the better songs. It sounds better, whether Kurt wanted it to or not. It's the better album. But we'll get into that.
All right, so I'm next for number 3. Now, this one is this is where things got tough for me, because my 1 and 2 on any given day can be a different one. But we're gonna go In Utero for number 2.
God, you're so like predictable. That's seriously, that's everybody's list. What you have up there is like, okay, we're gonna start with this one, then we're gonna move to the next one. Oh, come on, man! Like seriously, like. Anyways,
before this one, I would have told you In Utero was my favorite Nirvana album. Before I went through this listen through, I would have swore to you In Utero was my favorite one. The only reason it's beat out is one thing: Very Ape. Very Ape is the only reason.
Dude, that's a great track. What are you talking about?
That's the only reason.
Oh no!
It's not the banger. It's the weakest track on there. Everything else is a banger. Now, if we're talking about hidden tracks, both the hidden track for this one and my next album, I don't like. I have no use for it.
Me and Ed used to play that all the time. And then dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. We used to do that all the time.
I love the sound on this. I love how there's more distortion. It's not as clean as Nevermind. I do like that a lot. There's no flow problems. I think this album flows very well. Like I said, Very Ape's the only reason. And like tomorrow, I could say In Utero is my favorite album. But Vegas.
Yeah, so I listened to the whole discography again a couple days ago, back to back. And number 2 is going to be Nevermind. Again, like Vina said, not a bad song on there. And I'm judging it off what it is, not what could have been, who liked it, who mixed it, but what was out to the public. And the first 7 songs, you can't deny, are like masterpieces on that album. But then it takes a strong dip down immediately. You know, when you hit songs like Lounge Act, not a fan of it, just kind of seems half-assed, you know. It kind of ruins the pace of the album compared to the number 1 album. I mean, it's a great album, but I think there's too much nostalgia and popularity in Nevermind to make it the number 1 album if you truly appreciate the music and the effort and the variety compared to In Utero, which we'll talk about in a bit. So, yeah, I think Nevermind ends up as number 2.
All right. Ed, give us your number 1.
After I just shit on it, give us your number 1.
Yeah.
Unplugged! No, I'm kidding.
How could you shit on Nevermind?
I do love the Unplugged one, though. I'm going to put Nevermind as number 1, man. It's a fantastic album. And honestly, this is the only point I have on Nevermind. When Jason was telling a story earlier today, that line, "The Blue Is Mine," that was from a song from Nevermind. When we were learning to play Nirvana songs, those were songs from Nevermind.
Not we.
That album has. No, we started with Nevermind. We back and forth. We listened to the damn CD over and over again until we got all the songs right.
You did. I already knew the songs. I had the books for all the albums.
You were teaching
I
them
could play.
Anyway, this is my time.
Zeppelin.
This is my time.
That's
you go away.
True. That is his time.
But it's a classic because of the way that it affected this is like an entire generation. Dude, that album is a before and after. It's just, there is a before. In Utero, Incesticide, Bleach, there is no before and after in music history. Nevermind, there's a clear before and after Nevermind. And you can see it in history, not just in what way people talk about music. You can see it like in the global scale. It changed music from what it was. It went from like to all that stuff. Michael Jackson got knocked off from number 1. I mean, all of that went away, dude. All those people went broke because of this one album that completely changed the landscape of music of the time. So much so that even kids nowadays, they're still talking about it, wearing the shirts and with the naked baby and everything. So that album has to be probably this is a masterpiece, man. It's a masterpiece that changed history and changed music history.
Huh? All right. So my number 1 is also Nevermind. And I didn't do, as Vegas was saying, how, you know, if you listen to them, this wouldn't be your choice. That'd be number 2. But what I did with this experiment that we're doing, or these videos that we're doing, is I just listen to albums for what they are. I don't care that Nevermind is an influential album. I think that's great. Really, like I said, before listening to all these, I'd have told you In Utero was my favorite. But when I go back and listen to it, I think Nevermind's the better album. I think that its songs just all hit better. I think every single one of these songs is amazing. And to me, there is no lull. It's just continuously great song, great song, great song, great song, great song. Whereas in Utero, like I said, there's one song on there that I'm just like, it's not bad, it's just not good. Whereas this one, everything. You can put this album on at any point in time and listen to every single song and be like, that was a great listen. And that's why I picked it number 1. Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, clearly In Utero is number 1. I think Ed said it best at the beginning is you can see the progression. And that's exactly what I thought when listening to these 4 albums is you see the progression of the band and Kurt. And I mean, Serve the Servants is an amazing song to start any album off. It gets you kicking, it gets the energy going, and then it's just one after the other, and it doesn't stop. I felt like I enjoyed every single song, and Pennyroyal Tea is one of my favorite songs off of that album. It's got like a little bit of a poppy, catchy sound, but you know, they've got a little bit of that pop and that punk all throughout, and I think they were starting to really, if they would have kept going, we would have seen even better stuff. Like Nevermind was their bridge to greatness, and In Utero was now the climb towards the top of the mountain. I think they could have done great things if they built off what they did on In Utero. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see that. But I mean, I feel musically, instrumentally wise, just the thought process going into those songs, that In Utero hands down beats Nevermind.
We did get to see a window though. That Do Re Mi song. I mean, even is recorded. You can tell, like on a 4-track or something. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, it was recorded during the In Utero sessions, wasn't it?
Yeah, Opinions, was that the name of the other one? I mean, he was going in a direction that was like,
no, Opinion was older.
End up being like a Bob Dylan. Like he like the way he wrote music with melodies, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like he just wrote pop. He had pop in him. Like he wrote catchy melodic songs, you know, and he like he did it and came out of him, and it's great stuff.
Yeah, hold these opinions for. We're gonna do a little closing argument section here. Vinyl, go.
Well, I mean, it's only one left. It's In Utero. I don't discredit what Nevermind did. I was there. I was 12 years old, and the radio was full of just what I like to call cowboy music. We have a friend named Cowboy who listens to Def Leppard and all that stuff. But Nirvana did change everything. But I think In Utero is the better album. Songwriting on In Utero, the lyrical content of In Utero. Nevermind, most of the lyrics were written in the studio while they were recording it. He was just scratching, whatever came to his mind. It literally references that in On a Plane. In Utero, there's songs that are more personal, that are deeper, that was shit that he was going through at the time, and I think the songs on In Utero are just better. They're better written. It's Kurt growing up. Francis Farmer,
amazing.
Very Ape was amazing. You had some Dave Grohl, Milk It, Merciless Apprentice.
Yeah.
Okay, Vinyl, that's your pick. You're good there.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a little quick. We got a little time. We're gonna do a little quick closing arguments. Anything you'd like to say, just about, regardless. So we'll start with Ed was ready.
Well, no.
It's like, hold up.
Sure, like I think these everything from Incesticide. I think that's what people don't include Incesticide as part of the discography sometimes. Because if you look at like all the work together as a whole, from all these albums, all the songs, I think that it's meant to be taken as a whole. I mean, he was an artist, man. He wasn't just a songwriter. The dude painted. He had a good grasp and concept of art.
Look at the cover of Incesticide. He painted.
Yeah, exactly. And he had his own paintings. That are being shown today. So. Just if you got to understand that too, and again, the order of these albums are not to say that that's why I said sacrilegious kind of to do this, but I mean they're all great songs. I love all of these albums. It's just that my preference is in the way that it was chosen.
Vegas, closing arguments.
Yeah, I think this is a great kind of project and podcast to go through, because it's been a little while since I've gone through these albums, and I've kind of change genres of music, so it's nice to revisit some things that I haven't heard in a while and kind of take it from my point of view now, being much older and stupider. But Vinyl and I kind of had a previous discussion, and I thought it was Nevermind too until I went through the whole discography again and really just listened to it musically. And that's how I'm going to go forward is for me personally, is just what is on the album. What do I hear instrument wise? What do I hear lyrically? Do I like it? Do I not? Because there are definitely some things that we're going to go through that I have no idea about. And I'm looking forward to learning about new bands and things like that. So, But I think number one is In Utero, and the two that picked Nevermind. You are just corporate puppets who went with the masses on that.
I'll say mine before yours there, Vital. So my closing argument, honestly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 can change places on any given day. I mean, just at a whim, you could flip the other ones. I think 3 and 4 and 1 or 2 were definitely split by that. Ed is just flat out wrong.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Just the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's wrong.
No one else picked my line, so I am here to definitively say mine is the line for.
Yours is predictable. Yours is predictable and boring.
Well, I mean,
boring.
And right. Right is boring. Wrong is what you have on Ed's list. So those are fun. Vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, at all 4 of these 53 tracks, to me, they're all S tier. But I think In Utero stands the test better than Nevermind as a whole. Incesticide, normally going forward, we're going to do some Green Day, we're going to do Rancid, Led Zeppelin. We're not going to include things that are B-sides or whatever. It's just Nirvana has, they only have 3 albums, so we had to add Incesticide just to let Ed mess it up somehow.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, man.
That's...
Not everybody's got good taste,
And some honorable mentions.
Also you gotta. Okay, so honestly though, look at it. You gotta look at it from different points of view. I always looked at music from a different point of view. It might be a little out of whack, but when it comes to music, man, if the artist doesn't, that's not the way that he meant for you to hear it. I don't know. It's kind of weak sauce, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's Kurt. You can't take anything he says for granted, period.
And we do have 2 people who've been in bands, at least. I don't know if Vegas you have.
Yeah.
But have been are currently in bands. I know how to press the play button on a DVD player or,
Someone's got to be the sampler.
Something. Yeah, I know how to do that. So their opinions should matter, but looking at these lists, they don't. So some honorable mentions, though, obviously they're live things. Nirvana has a huge live and other kind of discography that we're not taking into account because obviously Wish Guy would be number 1 for me if we got to do that.
Oh, you like the live album?
Yeah, I love that. It's great. Yeah. That's my favorite, but we're not counting those in, but they should be at least mentioned out in the world.
We can do a whole separate video on just Nirvana B-sides because, again, the B-sides on In Utero are better than the ones on Nevermind.
I don't know, man. D7 has always been my favorite.
I Hate Myself and I Want to Die, song. Moist Vagina,
I know.
Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't count verse, chorus, verse because he recorded that for every album.
So, and it looks like we don't really have sometimes what may happen, just to give you kind of a breakdown, is if we run too long or we get into too big of a debate about something, we will run through some hidden tracks, do a different video. I think we're safe on this one. I don't think we're going to. It's just so wrong, there's nothing to argue about. So we don't have to go through that. So we're going to wrap it up there. This is something we're going to be doing, hopefully.
Yeah, I want a new host. This one is biased.
I don't think. Look, y'all chime in on the Discord or in the comments below if you think I am incorrect on Ed's pick of number 2 for In Utero. That's all I got to say. Just tell me who's right or wrong.
Let us know in the comments
Is Ed
below.
right? Is everyone else in the world right? Let's just say that. So we're going to sign off.
These people are drunk. They've been drinking all day.
Oh, I've been drinking LaCroix, so that's not an excuse. That's sparkling water.
Old sparkling water discography doesn't have the same ring to it.
Hey, man, gotta have that H2O.
So this has been Old Drunken Discography. Make sure to tune in next time. We'll be ranking the Gaslight Anthem, unless we rank something else that we want to. Make sure you do all the describe, like, share, tell a friend, call your ma, things that you're supposed to ask us to do. And let us know your rankings below in the Discord on Facebook. And then all my naive co-hosts say goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Yep.